Hey guys, welcome to another SOFHAB review series, and this time I'll be covering the documentary The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, and joining me once again is Masculine Entertainment.
Hello.
This documentary was recommended to us by Kyle White, a Rascal family member.
Yes.
And it shows a fascinating look into the canceled yet troubled production of Superman Lives. The DC movie that was originally a film directed by Tim Burton and starred Nicolas Cage as Superman, but after months of working, the project mysteriously fell through. Now, many fans still ponder today of what could have been,
Right.
including seeing fan art and fan footage animation made. But
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, include notification updates on upcoming reviews and more videos.
yes, definitely. Thanks for joining us for this. Now, this was a 2015 documentary. Forgot to mention the year.
Yes.
And it was actually funded in part by a Kickstarter campaign.
Yes, apparently. And we've seen a few of those happen actually quite recently where they want to do full-on documentaries on a subject matter or person, and since they have the money for a full-fledged production, they actually get help with crowdfunding to create a documentary exploring certain themes or the history of a person or a character.
This documentary was directed and written by John Schnepp. Unfortunately, he's passed. Physical media releases about a print. But
Right.
you can still purchase the documentary and supplemental materials. But I didn't know he had passed, so I was
Me either.
surprised to learn that as well. This was pretty fascinating. In the beginning, you find out that the first script was being written by Kevin Smith. Yes, that Kevin Smith,
Yes, the one you know.
who wrote the He-Man reboot series. And
Yes.
I'm hoping that at that time would have been better. But it looks like they were not pleased with his version, which he says was more true to the canon.
Now,
of
when you think
Superman.
about it, if
Right.
somebody was
And
like to see a Nick Cage Superman
He was
movie,
fired,
I'd be like,
and Tim Burton was hired.
yes, take
Yes.
all my money because I want to see what
And
that looks like.
they wanted this Superman, if this sounds familiar, let us know. They wanted this Superman to be a more darker take. So like how Batman kind of already fit in with Tim Burton's style, already a dark character, but adding more darkness to the villains. This one added more of a darkness to Superman, who kind of questions, should he still be Superman? Can he separate himself from being Clark Kent Superman after so long of being in this persona? It was a much more introspective take, a little more darker storyline, and coming to terms of both of his identities when fighting an alien threat.
That was pretty great in this film. Schnepp interviewed lots of people involved with the development of this project. It also featured numerous conceptual artwork and designs, which you'll see throughout
Right.
this review or throughout this video. You'll
Right.
see it. So if you say, hey, this doesn't look familiar, that's because it isn't.
Right.
And a lot of it looks really good. And I really would have been interested in seeing this version of Superman.
Yes.
Now, Tim Burton, as we mentioned, was hired to direct the film, and John Peters was actually going to do the production.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Walken was rumored to have been cast to play Brainiac.
Yeah, that would be an interesting choice.
They hadn't yet chosen Lois Lane, but they were considering Courtney Cox and Sandra Bullock. And
Really?
Peters stated that he really wanted Bullock more than anything to play the role. And they also had not cast Lex Luthor or Doomsday.
Right.
So the film was really hedging on Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Which is fine because Nicolas Cage is a great actor. And at that time he had done some movies, but he hadn't done one that really had put him on the map. This probably would have done it. Now, how this would have affected the theatrical movies DC made, we'll never know.
Right.
But it would have at least been something different that was canon.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have seen a different version of Superman and seen Cage do a different type of performance as a superhero. Now, we're going to
Right.
have him as Spider-Man Noir now. But before that, and Ghost Rider before that. But this was before those performances.
Right. And as you're looking at all of this concept art, and yes, it was like the original, what WTF happened to this movie, they started going a little more detail about what the storyline was supposed to be. Like we said, it was a darker take on Superman and more psychological on his dual identity. And they also were going to have more of a focus on battling an alien threat. Like we said, Brainiac Brainiac. They had like really unique alien designs. Some were more tarantula inspired, but they couldn't call it a spider for whatever reason. And they had them give him a Thanagarian name, which was hilarious.
Yes.
And they even showed the different takes they had on Superman's suit, because there were quite a few video clips where Nicolas Cage is shown to be putting it on. And a lot of these ideas and images and takes on the suit really intrigue people, so much so that it's been years and people are still talking about giving a revival to this idea that Nicolas Cage deserves to be able to play the role, because originally people thought it was going to be a really weird choice, but now so much time has passed, they're now pushing to give Nicolas Cage a Superman movie.
Which would be great, actually. As I said, I would have loved to have seen this finish. Now, we kind of might have dodged a bullet because the producer went on to produce Wild Wild West.
Oh no.
Which actually had a giant spider in its finale. That's so funny.
Right.
In this movie, John Peters did not want Superman to fly.
Yes.
Nor did he want him to wear the red and blue costume, which was really odd.
For some reason, yeah. It's almost like because of the new storyline, they wanted Superman to not act like Superman for a majority of the film, as if he was a nearly normal man with human strength.
It is more of a.
So the critical reception for The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, was very positive. Rotten Tomatoes, when you can still trust them, gave it a 79%. Forbes and Hollywood Reporter rated it highly and gave it positive reviews.
Right.
Even IGN did. I really would have loved to have seen this movie finish.
Yeah.
Because the concept art, which I tried to find online but couldn't find, so you have to watch the documentary to see it.
Tim Burton Superman.
Fantastic.
Yes.
It would have been such a different look
Probably
for a
something we'd
DC
still be
movie.
talking about.
And I would have loved to have seen it finish. I would have loved to have seen, as we mentioned, the aliens and the different creatures that were appearing in here.
Yes.
We would have seen a long-haired Superman.
Right.
I think Nicolas Cage's hair was still going to be long, so that would have been a different take.
Right.
But it just would have been fun to see something different again that was canonical. Not something that is made up in someone's head
Or an Elseworld story, yeah.
and fails. As far as Tim Burton, I think it would have been something different, and I think it would have been good. The only thing I've seen Tim Burton do that I really thought was just really crappy was the Dark Shadows movie.
Yeah, and that's really it.
But what I can say about Tim Burton is his things are unique, they stand out,
Yes.
they have a different look, a different feel, and he's true to his vision of how he wants his cinematic world to look.
Right.
So I think
And
this movie would have been really, really interesting to see finish.
right. And it's not just what they watered down to his style movies as, oh, it's spooky, it's creepy, it's eerie, they got big eyes, they focus on Halloween themes and everything, and that's unfortunately what they watered down a lot of his things too nowadays, thinking that's all he's known for doing kid-friendly, creepy things. And for Superman, it showed it was a little darker, but it wasn't creepy or eerie. It was just a Superman that was a little more grounded in reality and questioning, can he be a hero or not, which was something different. So given that he did so well on a Batman movie, it proves that he can work with superhero movies very well, also putting his own spin on it without making it look like Nightmare Before Christmas. So I think, yes, this movie should be given another chance to do so.
Absolutely. So if you've seen The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, let us know in the comments. Did you find it as captivating as we did? Did you think it was meh or something you didn't want to see? Tell us what you think. If you haven't seen it, it's available on YouTube to watch for free. You should invest the time. It runs 104 minutes, but it's an interesting and fun use of your time.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Kyle, for recommending this to
Yes.
us through our X channel, Pause on Animation. Visit us, follow us if you haven't already. And we really found it interesting, and we're so glad that you taking interest in our channel and taking interest in letting us know of new and interesting things to watch. We really appreciate you as well.
Right.
And last but not least, thank you for subscribing, for sharing our videos, and just for being the specials that we love you for. We appreciate everything that you do.
Yes.
And enjoy this documentary. Be sure to watch it.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, notification button updates on coming reviews, and many other videos.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal.
I'm Julie.
Have a fantastic day.
Continue to be happy, healthy, whole, and also wonderful. See you next time.
When you think about it, if somebody was just like, would you like to see a Nick Cage Superman movie? I'd be like, and yes, take all my money because I want to see what that looks like.